born in Syracuse, New York, but he moved often and could call half a dozen cities home. When Tom was 12, his parents divorced, and his mother, Mary Lee, raised him and his 3 sisters with little money and no outside help. He was first bitten by the acting bug at New Jersey's Glen Ridge High School. He had one of the leads in Guys and Dolls. Shortly after graduation, he got a break. An actor originally cast for a pivotal supporting role in the movie Taps was fired at the last moment. Tom, who already had a bit part in the film, took his place.
It's beautiful, man! Beautiful!
As a result, he caught the critics' attention and his career caught fire. Just 2 years later, he was offered the role of a lifetime.
Just take those old records on the shelf.
Everybody remembers the underwear dance in the smash film Risky Business. But the truth is that the movie worked because Tom displayed the sort of sensitivity rarely present in an actor of his few years. Women were taken with him instantly. And the men were soon to follow. By the time he made Top Gun in 1986, he could call his own shots, and there was a waiting line to work with him. No one picks movies better than Tom Cruise. He has held his own alongside greats like Paul Newman in The Color of Money or Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, and he takes chances that pay off.
You want to burn the flag? Huh, Tommy? What is it? Want to bring down this country? Love it or leave it, Tommy. You know, you could just love it or leave it.
He was nominated for an Oscar for Born on the 4th of July, and he seems to enjoy moving from artistic ventures like that to more mainstream films like Days of Thunder. It was on this film that he met Australian-born Nicole Kidman. They seem to enjoy working together. Their relationship in that upcoming film, Far and Away, is thoroughly charming.
Shannon Christie. You never gave up. You know what you wanted back in Ireland. And look at you.
In one scene, Tom is called upon to express his admiration for her. It appears to be no act.
You're a corker, Shannon. What a corker you are.
Nicole and Tom were married on Christmas Eve in 1990. And so far, the relationship seems to be strong enough to weather the stormy public waters of 2 high-profile careers. Tom has been down this road before. His previous marriage to actress Mimi Rogers ended in divorce after 3 years.
I love stories like that.
This year, Tom Cruise turns 30. The man everyone describes as intense and driven seems more comfortable in his superstar skin these days. Nicole Kidman may have something to do with that. You work with your wife in this film,
yes.
Nicole Kidman.
Yes.
Now, tell me, does it make a love scene more exciting or less? I mean, you can do this at home at night. You don't have to do this on the... What, is the tension there?
Well, with Nicole, it's always very exciting.
Tell us about it.
I mean, I don't know if it makes it, you know, I mean, it's my wife, so, and, but it's also, the interesting thing about Nicole is that she can surprise me. You know, we'd rehearse, and I've seen her develop this character and work on it, and then all of a sudden she just creates some new moment, and she becomes that character, and that's exciting to see.
I think you're in love.
Yeah, I am.
We hear rumors that she's having a baby. Rumors?
I know, rumors. No, she's not pregnant. And people come up to us and congratulate us. And unfortunately, we have to say, look, you know, I'm sorry, you know, she's not pregnant. I get a little embarrassed.
Would you like to have children?
Yeah, I would like to have children. I mean, we're not really trying right now, but in the future, I do see myself holding a little bambino. Little Kidman Cruise.
Tell me about your childhood. Your mother sounds like a terrific
Yeah, she
woman,
is.
and you're crazy about your mother.
Yeah, I love my mother. I love her. You could see my mother smile, and she just, you're the only person in the world, you know.
Do you have your mother smile? It's a great smile.
You know, yeah, I think I do, yeah. Yeah, I think hers is more beautiful.
Now tell me about your father. When you were 12 years old, and in a family of mostly sisters, and close to your father, he and your mother got divorced.
Yes. My father had not been working for a while. My mother was was supporting the family, and I think, you know, between the two of them, it was, there were some, you know, there were conflicts on how we were to be raised, and so, you know, my mother made the right decision, and I mean, it's like an adventure story. We left in the middle of the night after in Canada when the separation papers were signed, and you know, my mother decided that we had to, you know, she wanted to go back to Kentucky and be with the family, and so we left.
And you didn't see him for years?
Yes. Did
you hear from him? Did he send, you know, letters, Christmas presents, money to the kids, anything?
No.
No.
No. And I didn't understand that. But it brought us together, you know. There was a purpose that we had in trying to really survive and do something with our lives. I mean, she used to take me in front of the mirror. I mean, and say, look at yourself. You know, I'd do something wrong, or I was always getting into trouble at times. And she'd look in the mirror, and she'd say, now, how do you feel about that guy? What are you going to do, you know? Where you know, when you're growing up, you got to be able to look in that mirror and feel good about that guy that you're staring at, you know?
When she said, what do you want to do? Did you say, I don't know?
Yeah. I always felt I wanted to be a good person. And I wanted to do the best, and whatever I decided to do, to be the best that I could be.
Your father died of cancer 8 years ago.
Yes.
Did you make your peace with your father before he died?
Yes, I did, you know, there was a point, a level that we reached before he died, but I really never got to sit down and talk to him. You know, he was actually in the hospital, and he said, look, when I get out of here, we'll go out and we'll have a beer, and we'll talk about everything, and then he died. You
have 2 older sisters?
Yes.
And 1 younger sister?
Yes.
So is that wonderful growing up with all those women, or did they drive you crazy? Are you the most spoiled kid in
That's
America?
what I hear all the time. No. Oh, jeez.
God, all these sisters say he's wonderful. No, he's better than that.
I mean, it was great. It was, what can I say? It was great. You know, I had 4 women, my mother and these 3 girls who were, you know, incredible women, and really, we had a great time. We had a great time.
Did your sisters think you were handsome? Did their friends think you were handsome? Did you know you were good looking? The truth.
I didn't know, I don't know. I didn't really, you know, I remember my sister and her friends, they would meet after school, and, you know, they'd talk about boys or whatnot, and sometimes they would choose me to practice kissing on, you know, because they needed someone to practice on. So that bell rang, and I was at a dead sprint for a couple of weeks. You know?
The little girlfriends would come home and say, pucker up and let me...
Oh yeah, they put me on the bathroom sink, and they take turns closing the door and going in there.
And kissing you?
And kissing me.
You were how old?
I think I was about 8 years old, you know.
That's a good side. There was also in your family dyslexia. You were dyslexic?
Yes. And I didn't, you know, it was something that I felt that I had to hide.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand. Didn't and don't.
And didn't and don't. And it was embarrassing for me.
It means that you see numbers backwards, you have trouble reading.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, at that point, I couldn't remember, you know, my right hand from my left hand. I get to the bottom of the page, and, you know, letters were turned backwards. And actually, this is something that I have dealt with. And it was something that was very embarrassing and very traumatic at times, because it's bad enough going in as a new school. I did.
Things are so good now, but not too long ago, there is something that must have been very painful, and that is the divorce from Mimi Rogers. You married when you were 24. Was it just too young?
I don't know. I hate to say that, because there's a lot of young people that should be together, and I think anyone who's been through that, and, you know, you marry, and then there's you know, you realize you've got to confront, geez, maybe this isn't going to work. And that's always a very difficult thing for anyone to confront. I think anyone who's been through it on any level understands that. And so yeah, you know, but I really, you know, I wish her well. I wish her great success.
Are you friends?
And happiness. Well, we don't talk really. I mean, don't talk at all. I haven't spoken to her in a couple of years. But I do wish her well. I understand so much more about myself and so much more about a relationship. You know, I mean, I can speak specifically about Nick and I, you know, how we feel about our lives. I mean, the support we give each other.
Not to compete, but to support?
Oh, you know, totally to support.
Yeah. When you did The Color of Money with Paul Newman, he gave you some advice.
Yeah, give me a lot of advice.
What did he say? Kid, he said?
Yeah, he used to call me, still does, hey, kid, every time I talk to him. I said, I'm 29 years old, Paul, you know. He said, he said, do your work. I mean, he gave me a lot of great advice. I mean, that man is, he's just, he said, really don't believe what they write about you, you know, and don't take note of that. Don't let it upset you. You do what you do, and you live your life, and enjoy yourself. I didn't realize that you could actually work all day and then go home and have a dinner with your friends. And, you know, I used to go over to Newman's and we'd have dinner. It was a ball. Man, I had a blast. And then, really, this past year, you know, year and a half, I started, you know, and it's not that I can do both, I realized. I can really work hard and still enjoy, you know, my friends.
You talk about wanting to do the right thing, be a good person. Do you now? Are you now?
A good person?
Yeah.
I feel I am. I feel I am. I feel happy with myself. I mean, when I look in the mirror, I feel good about myself, you know? Yeah, I can say I feel good about myself. I do. And I'd wish that on anyone.